Hello and welcome back to my show. I hope you're well. Let's get to the news. But I have some good stuff to tell you. There's a potential for a fourth stimulus. I know some of you guys are thinking, okay, next. That's a drop in the bucket. You're probably right. But one thing for sure is a fact is there's no free lunch. There's always strings attached, even when people don't think so. That's just my take there. So before we talk about that potential for a stimulus check, we need to talk about other news. The SLR, which is a supplementary leverage ratio. Now, why is that important for you and I? Because it affects the commercial bank's ability to lend us money. It affects our bank accounts, and in turn, it affects our portfolio. So we might want to know something about it. So the SLR is commercial equities divided by assets. Assets are loans, bank reserves, and treasuries. So how does the Federal Reserve increase their SLR? They do it in two methods. And I have to give credit to George Gammon because you got to give credit where it's earned. So I watched his video, and these are my takeaway points from his video. So props for him, and I thank him for posting his video and clarifying this for us, right? So how do the feds increase the SLR? Well, they do it by two methods: decreasing liabilities and by increasing equity. So we will go through the decreasing liabilities first. The first is where commercial banks lend less money. Now, commercial banks, when they give a loan, that creates liabilities. Assets are the loan and liabilities are the deposits. Does that make sense? I sure hope so. And the second way is where banks can charge us 1% a year to keep our money in the bank, forcing us to take our money and go to another bank, head for the hills. Or the third way is where they sell assets to non-banks, but the customer has to be a part of the bank to do the selling. And where George Gammon, he tells us how Lynn Alden said that where commercial banks will force people to do money market funds, which will higher their asset risk, higher risk assets. Yes. And the last one is where commercial banks buy treasuries from Janet Yellen, and Janet Yellen spends it into the real economy, and that forces bankers or doesn't motivate commercial banks to want to buy more treasuries in the future. So and other ways to increase the SLR, we said, was by increasing equities. So how do we do that? First, buybacks. They take reserves and trade them for shares. Share prices go up, Tier 1 capital goes up, and SLR goes up. What are other ways? Banks take more risks and they get more added derivatives. Gammon said that's not a good thing. The banks are already taking too many risks as it is. And another method is the way Gammon said, rehypothecation, where banks, they have treasuries that they don't own, that they borrowed, and they use it as collateral, as if it's their own. And where commercial banks lend to riskier people, and they hike up the interest rates. What else? Yes. Another way is where commercial banks cut payroll, they cut dividends, and that increases the SLR. And Gammon has said, so what if the Biden administration, they increased corporate taxes? That would mean that the Tier 1 capital will go down, it would decrease retaining earnings and decrease SLR, and this could potentially create an SLR crisis, not the place that we want to be at, right? So let's talk about other news, shall we? CNET.com, and I'll put some links of what George Gammon had on his website so you could take a look at it for yourself. Now, CNET.com said the third stimulus bill would focus on reviving the economy, combating inequalities. That includes reparations, right? But one thing I ask myself, and a lot of people should, reparations. Now, these people who are wanting reparations, or the BLM movement advocating for that, no problem. But are these people who are wanting reparations, did they look at the lineage of these people to see if they're people and their ancestry, whether or not they were slaves, in fact? Because if they weren't, I'm not so sure they're entitled to reparations, but who am I to make a judgment of that sort or nature, right? Okay, no problem. So the third stimulus bill, we said, would focus on reviving the economy, combating inequality, and repairing the countless infrastructure that has been fractured due to the coronavirus. Okay, and that could, so I think that the fourth stimulus check would be, maybe we need some climate change stuff in there. Maybe we need to make senators or a certain party, politicians, we can make their bank accounts fancy because, they're standing up for us. Look at the 10 progressive senators including Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders, who are saying that we should, quote, have recurring stimulus checks. Okay, props for them. They are heroes. Yes, they are. Them and Biden included. So they said that they want people to get, quote, recurring stimulus checks so American people could put food on their table and a roof over their head. So selfless of them to think about Americans like that. So raise the roof for them. Woo-hoo! Yes, okay. So, because they're doing the heavy lifting for us, right? As elected by the people. Yes, all right. What else do I want to talk about? Oh, yeah. Okay, so other stuff in the news. ABC 7, New York. You know how I just drove in my neck of the woods the other day, which was yesterday, and I noticed they were having protests. I believe it was Sunday. Yeah, yesterday, right? And I seen people putting signs and protesting, saying we're fighting against anti-Asians, people who are anti-Asian, and then they kind of link that with white supremacy, like there's some kind of correlation. See, I'm not so sure, because a lot of the Asian crimes, anti-Asian crimes, they might not all be committed by white people. I mean, that guy who had a sex addiction and he went on a Asian rampage, which is a travesty for sure. Attacking someone, no matter what their color, is wrong. It's immoral. It's against what we believe in as Americans. So doesn't matter what color you are, a crime is a crime. When they talk about hate crime, do you have to be a certain color to have a hate crime against you? I mean, hate crime means that I hate somebody and I commit a crime against them. So where does color fit in? I just kind of ponder on that thought. I think you guys should think about it too, right? Hate is across the board. Hate doesn't have a color, does it? So law enforcement, so ABC 7, New York, reported a man was arrested after attacking an Asian woman. He appeared to be non-white. From the video, I'll put it on there. You guys be the judge of it. Maybe my eyes are playing tricks on me, right? Also on lawofficer.com, the headline is BLM activists charged with anti-Asian crime. His name is Christopher Hammer. He targeted multiple Asian victims. So CBS News, and there's good news for people in Oakland, but you gotta fit the paradigm. You gotta fit the certain rules to get $500 in your bank account. But there's certain qualifications. Like I said before, you have to be non-white and be in poverty, the poverty level, socioeconomically. So, we just talked about hate and racism, but are there no poor whites out there, or are they just privileged? Why are they not entitled to that? That's racism by itself, isn't it? I could be wrong. You tell me, call me out. I like to be called out when I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, please do. Vent out in the threads. Because you need a place for it. So do I. We all need a place, right? To share our feelings, our comments. Yeah? So yeah, CBS News reported headline, Oakland to give low-income residents 500 buckaroonies a month. Ooh. So money. And you know, the interesting thing is that this money's privately funded, but the government is distributing it. So am I missing anything there? Maybe I'm not. Okay, so I think that's all. That's my food for thought. Like I said, leave me some messages in the thread. I'd like to hear from you guys. Thank you for watching, taking from your time. Be blessed, be safe, and we'll see you. And subscribe and like, bring people on board so I can bring in some new content for you guys. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in my next video. Bye.